Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? My name's CB, and today we're going to be talking about episode 50 of My Hero Academia Season 3. Now, although this episode wasn't as action-packed as last week's, it's still a really good episode because we get to find out a lot of information about different characters throughout the series. And I think the most important conversations that happened in this episode was the one between All Might and Midoriya on the beach, and the second one was also between All Might, Midoriya, and his mom at his home. But at the beginning of this episode, we have an important conversation that is going to have to do with how things are dealt with in the city in the future, because we have the police force. At least it seems like what is the police force, the headquarters, the people who are in charge of, how things go down and how they mobilize the pro heroes, because pro heroes can't just do whatever they want in this city. When they were going after Shigaraki and All for One, the police force was there with the pro heroes working hand in hand, and they have an interesting conversation. One dude in particular, he seems like he really understands how things are going down, almost a little bit too well, or like he at least has his own theories. He's like, maybe everything that Shigaraki was doing was so that they could take down All Might specifically. There's no proof of that, but they're like, oh, at first the way he handled things and the situations he put himself in were very childish, but he's gotten a little bit more mature now. And because of the way things were handled, now no one has a symbol of peace to look up to. So, and that goes for the villains and for the heroes as well. Both sides are like, okay, there's no one who's gonna stand in our way. No one who people are look up and be like, watch out, because if you try to do something, this person will stop you. Basically, that's what their whole conversation in that meeting that they had in the beginning of the episode was about. Then we cut to All Might. We actually see him saying the symbol of peace is dead. Like, he admits it. He can't fight anymore. He understands this. He knows this. And we knew that from the last episode, but he didn't say it. Now we see him saying it. And we learn that Nana, the previous One for All wielder, before she passed it on to All Might, chose to not have a relationship with her son because she wanted him not to be a part of the hero society. She wanted to, like, protect him from that. And they have a whole conversation there about like what that means and why she did it. And Nana told All Might and his other teacher, Gran Torino, there, that they shouldn't get involved with the situation either. That was her decision. That's how she wanted it to stay. She didn't want any contact with Shigaraki for whatever reason, besides not wanting to be a part of the hero society. After that conversation there, we cut to the five, the crew who made everything happen, who helped All Might a lot to get Bakugo out of that situation that he was in a couple episodes before. We cut to them, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time that we see any family member besides Endeavor and Todoroki's mom. We see his sister. This is the first time in the anime that we've seen his sister, and she has similar hair. She doesn't have as much red in her hair, but she has like mostly white hair with red, sprinkled in there. Don't know if she has a quirk or not at this point in time. I know some of you people might know or not know more about his family, especially where the manga is right now. I haven't read it. I'm just saying I know a little bit about where the show is right now when we're talking about the manga, not the anime. But this is the first time I think we see her. And then this is the other interesting thing. We see Endeavor freaking out. He's smashing his head against the wall. He's like, I didn't want it like this, not like this. I can't accept this. I'll never accept it. He's talking about being number one, the number one pro hero. He can't accept it like this because he didn't actually become better than All Might. All Might got into an altercation with All for One, and now he can't fight anymore. Therefore, he's number one by default, and he doesn't like it. Todoroki sees this, and he didn't really give his opinion on it, but he sees it. You see the room is all destroyed. he's having a thing there. And after that, we see Midoriya go back to his house. His mom says hi to him. She talks about how she saw All Might on TV. He falls asleep with his cell phone on. And then he gets a call in the middle of the night. I think it's either in the middle of the night or it's early in the morning. I think it's early in the morning next day. All Might calls him to meet on the beach. And it's funny because you've seen this in other anime before. They start running to each other like they're going to embrace each other, like they're going to hug, right? And then he just does like a pretty weak Texas smash on his face. If this was a real Texas smash, Midoriya probably would have died. But he just smashes him in the face, and then he starts the conversation. And he's like, "You never listen to me, do you? You just do whatever you want. You could have really put us in a dangerous situation. Like, what if your plan didn't work? What if you didn't save Bakugo? You all got killed by All for One, and then things would have been pretty bad." Talks about how he can't even go in his muscular form anymore. He just reassures Midoriya that like it's over for him. He's not going to be working as a pro hero anymore, but that he's still going to support him and train him. And then they have their moment there. You see Midoriya crying, and there's that. After that, they cut back to the school. You see King Vlad, or Vlad King. You see All Might, and you see Eraserhead there. They're talking to the president of UA High School because they're trying to make sure that the media, and like just for their own sake too, they're trying to make sure that they do things better at the school so the kids are no longer in constant danger by these villains who want to provoke, society and start doing things like randomly killing people now that the symbol of peace is no longer here, at least for the time being. You see, he proposes this like sort of like this college campus dorming thing where the students will be at school instead of at home all the time. So they'll always be protected no matter what. And then they go from house to house, seeing which parents of the students are going to be okay with this and which aren't. They start with Jiro's family. And it's funny because at first her dad's like trying to be stern and serious. And then she just shows up and she's like, nah, man, he was okay with it from the moment he saw you fighting. That was cool. Next, they go to Bakugo's house, and after Bakugo's house, they go to Midoriya's house, and then they split. All Might and Eraserhead, they split up to cover more ground. But when they go to Bakugo's house, I think this is the first time that you see Bakugo's mom and dad. And Bakugo's mom is great, man. She just slaps him on the head. Like, everyone of his peers, like, are intimidated by him. But his mom is not intimidated, not even in the least bit. He's like, die! I'm gonna kill you! Stop getting involved in my personal business! And it's like, she's not having it. His dad is a little bit more timid, but obviously his mom has the same type of hair as him, so you could tell that they're cut from the same cloth. She is not taking any of his business, man. And I thought that was great. She ends up, accepting the proposal that Bakugo stay at school. I think, especially because of what Eraserhead said during that interview about Bakugo. How if the villains think that they can easily convert him to their side, that they don't know what they're talking about, and obviously they don't know Bakugo as well as he does. And, his students and the peers do at UA High School. Then, before they go, I just wanted to mention that Eraserhead and All Might, they have this interesting conversation when they're going from house to house. And apparently Eraserhead feels like he needs to apologize to All Might. He says he's going to buy him a drink, because he's putting himself in an awkward situation. But everything ends up going fine until they go to Midoriya's house. They both offer to buy each other drinks, even though All Might doesn't drink. So the only roadblock to the proposal to have all the students stay at school was just at Midoriya's house. And this is the second conversation I spoke about in the beginning of the video that is really important. Midoriya's mom is not okay with this plan. Since the very beginning, since he first started manifesting his quirk, which she doesn't know where he got it from, she just knows that he started manifesting it out of nowhere, he's been hurting himself. He's been breaking his arms, he's been put in the hospital, he's been in situations where he's about to die, and she's really concerned about this. She's like, I don't know if I can trust UA High School with my son. Ever since he was little, he looked up to you. But ever since he got his quirk, he's just been put in positions where he's gonna hurt himself or worse. And then she's like, I don't know. I just don't know. And that it really affects both of them. Actually, it affects All Might and Midoriya, not just Midoriya. Midoriya has his own, reactions to everything. She's like, Mom, this was my decision. It's not the school's fault. It was all me. And then he goes and he gets the letter from Koda that he got while he was in the hospital saying, this is why I want to be a hero, because there's someone who I was able to save and he thanked me. So it doesn't even matter if I go to UA or not. Just let me be a hero because I want to be a hero. And that it shows All Might that he's worthy of becoming the symbol of peace. And then he gets in his muscular form. He's able to do it not for too long, but he gets in his muscular form. and he like sort of like bows to show respect to his mom. He's like, listen, if you let him go to UA, I will do everything that I possibly can to protect him, to train him, to make sure that he's the best that he can be. I will give my life. And you know, she's still pretty stern about it. She's like, I don't want you to give your life. I want you to do the best that you can, but I want you to live the best life you can too. So he did what he had to do, you know, to prove to his mom, or to show that to his mom that he's gonna protect protect Midoriya. And also, I think it's important that Midoriya realizes that, and he even says it too, he realizes that the only reason that his mom feels this way now is because he's kind of neglected the way that she's felt the whole entire time ever since he's got his quirk. He could see lots of the times how she felt about the situations that he put himself in, that no one told him to put himself in, where he hurt himself. And that's why she feels like, no, I don't want you to do this anymore. You would have been better off. She even goes as far as to say, you would have been better off being quirkless and just admiring heroes from afar. And I think that's going too far, honestly, because Midoriya is her son. Like, she knows her son. He would have definitely not have been happier being quirkless his whole entire life. So it was more about how she felt, not really about how he felt. But at least he was able to realize that, which is a good thing. That would have been really bad if he was like, nah, mom, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, he acknowledged her feelings and promised to not ever let her worry about him hurting himself ever again. And that looks like it was going to be the end of the episode, but I'm glad that they're doing this. They're doing it right now. They're not ignoring the villains anymore. Now that the villains are in the picture, they're not being ignored anymore. We have a cut to All For One. He's all bandaged up. He still looks like a mummy. He's got no face. He's in a wheelchair, and I'm assuming that they're taking him to some kind of high level security facility, because he's like, oh, All Might, you made a mistake. As a result of our battle and you winning, you're closer to your students than you ever were before. But what makes a student really grow is being a part in letting them grow to develop leadership qualities. I'll put on the screen the quote that he put, because I honestly don't remember everything that he said. But basically, they just have a different philosophy of like how they're gonna treat their student, because Shigaraki is All For One student and Midoriya is One For All student. You know, All Might. So obviously, they're going to keep the villains in the mix, and I like that. I don't want the show to spend too much time focusing on just the heroes and them training and getting better and forget about the villains. Shigaraki has a chip on his shoulder after what happened to All For One, and I'm glad that they're putting that in there, even if it was at the very end of the episode. It was only for like a minute or two, but it was good. I'm glad they did that. Don't lose focus. The villains are still here, and now that the symbol of peace is gone, they're going to be doing a lot more stuff. They're going to mix things up. Trust me. And that was the end of the episode. That was it. It was a good episode. We learned a lot about different characters. We learned how Endeavor is handling the fact that he's automatically the symbol of peace now. He's the #1 pro hero. All Might is going to be giving his all now to train Midoriya to make sure that he, you know, will be able to use his quirk correctly and stop hurting himself. I want him to stop hurting himself. And yeah, next week's episode is going to be all the students focusing on like getting roommates and stuff like that. So I don't know what to expect from next week's episode, but this week was good. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode. Again, let me know what you guys thought of the review. Any ideas, any critiques, comments. And that's it. Expect some more videos to be coming out like they always do on the weekend. That's most of the time when my videos come out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.